All right, everybody. Hello and welcome back to SAK Bak Traks, the live stream every Monday night here at 8 p.m. We've been doing this for about 47 weeks now, and it's really great. We're having a good time. We're getting to learn a lot about the SAK past, all the wonderful history, the rich history of SAK Comedy Lab and SAK Theater Company. And we're back for another round today. So in the past, we have taken a look at the founders of the original SAK Theater Troupe at the Renaissance Festival in Minnesota. We've actually got through the opening of the SAK Comedy Lab. That was last week with some of the founders and foundlings. And today we're going to be treated to each of the artistic directors of the SAK Comedy Lab over the years. So that's over the course of 30 years, there are 6 artistic directors who have sat in that seat. So we'll get to meet them on and off. But first, we got to do a little business here to make sure that everybody knows why we're doing this. We're still not able to get up and open and do shows. We see a lot of things are starting to open this week. Entertainment venues are not one of them, so we are still going to have to wait a little bit. And then when we can open, we're going to be limited to small house sizes probably. So we're eager to keep things going. Everybody knows that we're trying to still raise a little money and have a little fun while we're doing that. So we do have a couple of things we want to mention to you and share about. We do have an opportunity for you. If you want to make a donation to SAK, you are welcome to make a donation. In fact, if you go to our homepage, sak.com, right down there, just about an inch or two down, you can find a couple of ways that you can help still keep SAK going through these difficult times. One is there's a donate button. If you want to make a straight up donation, you're welcome to do that. And hopefully, who knows, maybe somebody make a donation today. But what's even better is if you want to invest in your future and invest in our future, we encourage you to buy a ticket to a show in the future. So we're selling gift cards. So this is actually a look at one of our gift cards. And these cards are actually show tickets. So one gift card is one show ticket. You got a family of 4, you can buy 4 tickets, you get 4 gift cards, and those are going to be good for any show in the future when we get back going again, when the theaters open again. But it helps us keep going now with all the things that we have to do we still got to keep this place going and keep the electricity going and pay the rent. Everybody knows that. Everybody who's got a small business knows how it goes. So you can help us and invest in our future. And then as soon as things are getting back to normal, you can get back in here and have a good time and get a fun laugh. So that is the SAK.com. Also want to mention to all of you, because you're already here, so you guys already know what's going on with this, but SAK.com/live is going to give you an opportunity. You're actually live on our Facebook right now. But after this, if you want to either look back on this or if you want to tell others who are, I didn't catch that, you can actually get people to come to and see this later. And that will be at SAK.com/live. We'll take you to our Facebook Live page, which actually tells you what's going on this next week. This is our one for today. So we are actually in the live mode right now. We're going to bring those guys out in just a little bit, but of course we do have our giveaways in that thing, which we want to make sure that everybody knows about so we can have some fun. And of course, every week I do if we get a $100 donation, that is one thing that is going to happen hopefully today. We actually did get a $100 donation last week from John Oakvik. Actually, that was 2 weeks ago. We didn't have time for this last week. But if you make a $100 donation, you're going to get a prize. Now, I know that Robin likes to give wonderful prizes if people donate and for the shares, but I don't have the skills that a lot of people have for singing the songs and the like. So I just go on a rant. It is a stream of consciousness rant that goes on for a minute. It'll be timed at a minute, and I'll just go on and off about anything. You can give me a starter, something or other, and then I'll just rant for a minute. If another person donates $100 today, we're actually going to hopefully get some of our artistic directors to chime in. Somebody will do something if there's an additional donation for $100 or more. One of the most important things you can do is to share this live stream. We're going to have 6 wonderful artistic directors coming on in just a few minutes. So share this. You can put this on your homepage. You can share it with groups. And we're going to have a random drawing for all the people who share. You are going to go into a drawing. So we probably had about almost 100 shares last week. And so all those names went into a little hopper, and we did a drawing. Robin likes to give away Target gift cards. I can't get at those Target gift cards. So this is what we give away for me, everybody's favorite. That's right. We're going to give away some toilet paper. 2 weeks ago, Heather Delmont, she was the big winner. She took home the toilet paper. We actually sent it to her. And last week, Tammy Rorman, wife of, that's Heather from last week. And just announced Tammy Rorman won last week's contest. She won the drawing there. And Tammy is actually married to one of our founders, Gary Rorman. So it's not fixed. It's just random, and it randomly happened to her. So this will be sent safely through the USPS or probably the USTPS, United States Toilet Paper Service. We're going to get that out to you. So be sure to share, get those things. $100 for Dave to shave his head. John Hunter says, John, this is going for $10,000 possibly on Friday for Robin to shave her head. Now, I know she's a woman, and it's a little more strange. $10,000 is the donation she's looking for. So I ain't going to do that for $100. You can get an old man rant from Dave for that $100, but you're going to have to, I don't even have the equipment here, so it's going to have to be like several $1,000s, and I'll have to find some way to singe my hair off or tear it off because I have no tools right here. So I'll have to work something out for that. All right. So we're also going to play the game. We got the Hacky Sackies. If those of you don't know, it's a game kind of in the, when you're driving around on the very long road, you used to call it Ink Pink or Inky Pinky, and make up a little thing, and then you got to guess what it is. So it's always like two words that rhyme with each other. So my favorite one that I like to say is, if I'm thinking of Dinger Zinger, if that's the one, I might say it's a SAK Executives Clever Barb. It's a Dinger Zinger. So you're trying to guess Dinger Zinger based on my clever clues. So I'm also going to have to keep track and see, John, maybe you can help as well. But let's say that one is like I've got an ink pink, or it's a hack sack. It's a very easy one. This is going to be very easy. There's no prize on this one because it's so easy, but busted cola is the clue for this hack sack. It's just two one-syllable words that rhyme with each other. If you are a winner, I'm actually going to give you a prize. If you're a winner of one of the Hacky Sackies, you're going to get a free beverage card, right? When you come to SAK and buy your tickets, you can actually get a free beverage card when you come back. I know that SAK people might be playing, and there might be a winner, so you don't care about that free beverage card. I'll give you a parking voucher, so you can get a free parking voucher for you if you're a SAK person there. So remember this first one. I'll have to take a look and see if we can see some of these comments. But again, this first one is Busted Cola. Does anybody have a? Yes, Bro Coke. I see Adam Lind, who's seasoned. Adam Lind is he's a champion. I think he's been at every live stream we've done. So Adam, I don't know if somebody got it before you, but Busted Coke. That is it. So I'm just going to wait a few moments, and I'll send out the first one. That one was just a gimme. But I want to get some people and meet them out here, so you guys can be entertained by the artistic directors. It's on the screen, Dave. What's on? It's on screen, Dave. I don't know what's on screen. I'll find out in just a moment. But I've got the other hacky sackies coming up for you in just a moment. Now, our first, I want to join our first guy here, who's I see. Oh, good. He's actually in the waiting room. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bring out our first. This was our first artistic director. You actually had a chance to meet him last week, but we're going to be able to see him again. And I'm going to see if I can. Maybe catch a little kind of, there he is. There he is. His name is Will Sera. So go ahead and bring Will out onto the, hello, Will Sera. How are you?
Hello. Hi. Fine. Thank you.
It's nice to see you. Nice to see you again, Will.
Nice to be here.
Very good. And so you're out in California. That's why it's still very sunny out there, right?
It's always sunny in California.
It's always sunny. Yes. Very good. So welcome once again. Did you see the picture I had of you working hard?
Yeah.
Building, that was a picture at the our current SAK Comedy Lab. But you have a great distinction, Will, of all the artistic directors of anybody at SAK. But SAK has had 4 homes. We had the Carrie Hand home, which we talked about last week. We'll get a little more into that. We had the Jaymont building that was on Church and Court. And then we had the Amelia Street location, which we'll learn more about today. And then we have the location we're in now, which is the City Arts. City Arts isn't here anymore, but SAK is still here as an anchor tenant. So 4 venues, each that needed to be torn down of the old stuff and new stuff put in. And you were actually here for each of those. We were actually in California. We had sort of migrated out there during the time that the move was to Amelia, but you came back and helped build that. So thanks for doing all that. Talk a little bit about building 4 SAK venues.
Well, you know, it was a lot of work. I got to use power tools, which was fun.
You like the power tools?
Yeah.
That's and this is so. That's a pneumatic device there. And
that is a pneumatic nailer.
yeah.
And which place is that? That's the current location.
Did they have pneumatics in 1990? Or
no. There were no pneumatics early on.
So this was pre-pneumatic that we actually.
We had moved to the metal age, so that there was no longer stone tools. But,
Will, take a look at this pic here. You know these guys. These are fun guys. This was actually taken at, I believe, the 30th reunion of the SAK Theater Companies. This was in 1997 with you and Joel and Dano. And for those of you who don't know or remember Will from his very young age, let me this is Will from his Renaissance years. Look at that. He looks so cute. So, Will, we're going to get you back out here in a little bit. I'm going to bring each and everybody up. But so you're covering the years that go from basically 1990 through about 1995 or 1996 in a couple of different venues. So you are kind of the anchor one there. So go ahead and you could go ahead and bring him out, John. But Will, we're going to come back for you. I'm actually going to bring up my timeline here. So that we can see this. Let me see if I can get the timeline here. And that is this one here. So a reminder to everyone, SAK started in 1977, and then we went to start working at Epcot in 1982 through 89. In 1991, the SAK Comedy Lab was born. And in 1996, that's when we moved to the Amelia location. And I think I can get a closer one here. And so next we're going to bring out, if you can see that after the Will Sera, you can also see on all these, there's an artistic director and a managing director. So we can only have enough room to get like 6 people on. So I've got to make sure to get shout outs to all our managing directors as well, because they really work in tandem, the artistic director and the managing director, and a couple of people, James, who's coming up, and myself. We're just so tight at SAK, we had to kind of fill both roles as best we could. So next is James Newport. He was actually came to work with us during that initial time. So go ahead and bring James. John's telling me I still haven't fixed the Amelia time, which is 1998. I'm so sorry, John. I promise I will fix that for next week. But I'm so fuzzy. This is James Newport. Hello, James Newport.
Hi. How are you, Dave?
I'm doing well. So, James, you started working with us kind of in those early years with the founders. You were one of the foundlings who we talked to before. So you came in. We'll talk about where you came in from when kind of we get everybody out here. But you came to us from Comedy Sports. Is that correct?
Yeah. Just up the street from Church Street, at the other end of Church Street, at the Pizza Hut. We were at the second floor of Pizza Hut. Second floor of the Pizza Hut.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I think I got a shot here. Let me see if I can get this up on the screen there. This is from your Comedy Sports time there. Remember that? There's you in your Comedy Sports card. And then we're quickly moving on because there was a transition time, and I actually I'm out of sync. So Lyle, my humble apologies, but you're kind of in the cusp between myself and where James was. I'll get you out in just a second, Lyle. But so this is you with Matt LaRue and Jay Hopkins. Now, after there was a pretty big migration out to LA with a lot of the founders and foundlings, we kind of all kind of picked up our bootstraps and headed out to LA. There were a lot of wonderful people who were still here, and at that time they kind of took the floor. And these are people who both you guys, like you and Clark and some other folks, but also a lot of people who were in our Lab Rats group. So that is so these some good friends, Matt and Jay there. Yeah.
I knew them both.
You knew them both very well. So James, here's a picture. We talked about Fun with Science last week as as the original show in the Comedy Lab at the Church and Court. But we actually then did a later Fun with Science production that you were in as part of it. What were the two names again for the?
I have no idea. I do not remember. But it was me and Steve Pernick. We were the comedic vaudevillian duo.
Yes.
What was our names?
We'll remember when he comes back on. So that's great. And so I got some other pictures of you, James. So I remember this one was confusing to me. You sent me some pictures. What the heck is going on there? And then I realized that this is actually 2 pictures stacked on top of each other. So this is James hard at work making a Comedy Lab schedule. And then that's the other one that they were crossed over.
Yeah, when I was a young, pretty girl.
You were so pretty girl. All right. So we will be talking to you more. I'm going to see if I can bring that off.
No,
What's that?
It's not shielded in your area. Gallagher and Sheen, maybe that was
Gallagher
it.
and Sheen, that's it. Gallagher and Sheen. There it is. Thank you, Morgan. She remembers so well. All right, so James, I'm gonna send you off, and we'll bring everybody on in just a second. But I want to bring on the one I forgot to bring on before, who's actually kind of the cusp artistic director. So once we kind of made the migration out to California, our friend Lyle took over, and he was the artistic director until awesome and wonderful things happened in his life that took him sort of out of that mix right away. So go ahead and bring Mr. Lyle up there. Let's talk to Mr. Lyle. How are you, Lyle?
Hey, Dave. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being on. So your years were about, I guess it was around 95, 96, somewhere in there. And I don't recall the exact years for you. Can you help me out with that?
Well, actually, my first brush with SAK was actually in Vancouver when I was playing for the Vancouver Theatre Sports League. And SAK was bringing a company up to Expo 86, which was an exposition where they were going to have months-long entertainment.
Yeah.
And they auditioned people, improvisers there. And I think Gary Rohrman was at the table and Will Sera was at the table. We told a joke, said it nice and loud because it was outdoor theater, and I didn't get it. But Claire Sarah got it.
Yeah.
And Jerry McAteer, a friend of mine from high school, actually got it, so I was very happy for him. And I thought, oh, well, there it is. But then there was international tournaments. So I flew out on behalf of Vancouver Theatre Sports along with Jay Ono, a former artistic director there, and had a great time at that tournament. Came back the next year all by myself, had a great time there. Planned an extended vacation because I was going to teach in a school in New Zealand in the fall, but I met my wife at SAK and I stayed. I just stayed.
You just stayed. You stayed and stayed. All right, I'm going to bring up a little pic here. So I got to get that pic here. Here we go. I think I got that here. Speaking of, there's a couple of pictures of you. I see I got in one there with that one, and also Matt Young. But there's you and Francie.
Hey.
You met Francie at SAK, and for those who don't know, Francie is also our finance director here at SAK as well. So is that where you guys, was she working for us at that time, or I can't remember the timeline of all that?
Met at SAK there, and that picture on the other side, I think, was that the promo pictures for the Just for Laughs Festival? Did we go up there? Or was that Joel? I can't remember.
That may very well be. I do remember going up there, so that's probably is for that. But I really got to get a new shirt there. Something way wrong with my shirt. So Lyle, you have a wonderful distinction. You were actually the artistic director for a short time, working with Terry Olson was your managing director, as was with Will. And then did Andy Anthony came into the picture? Did he cross over with you, or is that more with James?
No, he was there at the same time I was, just before as we call it, the migration happened.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Because when I came here at the tournaments, I thought, what an incredible amount of talent here at SAK. It kind of reminded me of the early days of Vancouver Theatre Sports, where there's a group of people who went on to great and talented things like Colin Mockery, Ryan Stiles. And when I saw the group that you guys had here, I thought, this is magical. I get to work with two fabulous groups, and then you all left. So,
oops. Now, Lyle, I do want to point out this is another very cool thing about you, and that is that actually life happened for you. So we kind of lost you as artistic director for kind of the busy time because something had happened with you. So let me see if I can bring that back up here. Sorry, John was helping me, but take a look at this. This is life happened to you.
Oh man, that's Clarissa.
That is your daughter, Clarissa, right?
Well, actually, before that was Annalise and Alina, the twins.
Yeah.
And what happened was, as parents, we said we'd have no daycare. At least one of us would be staying home at all times. And Francie had a great job at Nickelodeon. And so I said, well, I'm going to stay home and take care of my daughters. And I did that for 2 years. So I said, well, I'm going to take a hiatus away. And it's the best decision I've ever made.
All right. And so I didn't happen to have a picture of the twins, but I'm glad I actually did have this picture of you and Clarissa. So this is your daughter, Clarissa, and we're going to fast forward, I don't know how many years. And you actually are the first person to have this as well. There's Clarissa on stage here at the SAK Comedy Lab. So everyone, if you can tell Clarissa, and if you look closely at that picture, if you can see standing diagonally behind Clarissa, who do you think that is?
I think that's me. I was backing her up there. Look
at that. From child in your lap to co-star on the SAK stage. How was that, Lyle?
That was a moment of a lifetime. Undescribable, parental proud, as a director, proud of how far she's come and everything. And I was backing her up because that was a booth thing. where in the studio, and she had opera, and she just killed it. She just killed it. There was a standing ovation, and then Robbie had to follow her. So it's like, it was a very, very proud moment.
You are a proud papa on that moment. Well, very good. That's great. All right, so I'm going to move along and bring some more people up, but we will get you back on here. So thanks for being here, and we'll see you. Somebody says Lyle has one shirt. Lyle, are you wearing the same shirt that you had in?
I love this shirt.
He's wearing exactly the same, but not Steve Merritt. Not underneath. He's wearing different. I think he's wearing different underwear and different socks. Yes. All right. So thank you very much, Lyle. We'll get back with you in just a moment. So we talked through Will, and then Lyle, and then James kind of went through the 1998 to almost 2003, I think, is where that happened. I was in LA with a lot of our group in 2003. And at that time, I had a couple of kids while I was in Los Angeles. So I had a couple of babies. And so it was, we actually wanted to get home. So we were going to come home because we had a house here and we were running out of money. So it's like, hey, we have a house. Let's go move into the house. And actually, that was actually an opportune moment because there was a transition happening at SAK at that time. So I actually kind of moved into, and I sat in the chair of artistic director for a while there. This was when we were already in the Amelia location that I was the artistic director. And then that went on. So through, I think the next transition was around 2010, but John Hunter is going to correct me on this. I know if I'm wrong. But in 2010, I stepped back as artistic director and managing director, and there were some just a really great core of performers working hard and really wanting to kind of take off and do things that they wanted to do. And I'm getting to be kind of the dad in this story now. So they're like, Dad, get out of here. We want to do it. So I call what I have termed giving them the car keys. So I said, all right, you guys can have the car keys. Don't burn down the garage and don't wreck the car. Don't total the car, but you can do what you want with it. And so at that time, that transition happened. There was about 4 or 5 people that were kind of a steering group, a steering committee, if you will, of people who took that on, and then they sort of settled out to find themselves an artistic director and a managing director. So the artistic director at that time, his name was Mike Carr. So if we can go ahead and bring Mike in. Hello, Mike. How are you?
Hi, Dad. I've missed you.
Yes, I have missed you too. Hey, Mike, I haven't seen this a beard and mustache going on you. That's looking very good as well.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's pre-quarantine. I had it before quarantine, but I'm gonna let it keep going.
How come yours doesn't have any gray in it?
It does. I just dye it. I like to maintain my youthful glow.
Your youthful glow. All right. Well, I'm gonna bring up a picture of you here too. So remember what you looked like back in the old days. So let me get this one here. I think this is the right one here. This is you and your good friend Chris Dinger, who actually served as your managing director through your time. He still is our managing director, but you were the artistic director and is the managing director.
You had mentioned that there were 4 or 5 of us. There were 5 of us. It was myself, David Charles, Chris Dinger, Stephen Cadwell, and the late, great Greg Yates.
Yes.
We were the 5 that kind of, you said, hey, you guys have the energy and the drive, take it and go with it. And we're thrilled that you did because we really enjoyed that opportunity. And thank you.
Yes, and you guys did go with it. You guys really did some wonderful things, which I'll talk about as we continue on, but really kind of opened up. The biggest thing was in the social media aspect, which is I'm granddad as far as all that goes, but you guys really took it to the next level. So that's great. And after that time, now Chris and Stephen moved up to Chicago.
Greg and Stephen, yeah.
Greg and Stephen moved up to Chicago, and then also David Charles was very busy with his stuff at Rollins College. So kind of you and Chris really took the reins fully there and went on with it. Mike, I want to show one more thing here. If we got a second here, I got to bring this back up here. So I think I'll do this here. This is a little. I'm going to just show a little. If I can get this going, see if we can. This is a little.
Barely did I walk through the threshold of
showing off your Shakespeare prowess.
Barely upon the clock of noon have I set foot upon mine own domicile to find mine child, the spawn of mine loins.
Nobody else was Shakespeare, just you.
I don't want to hear about your loins, Dad.
My loins speak in ways that you could not understand.
Mike, give us some more metaphors about your loins.
That's Chris Dinger, who loves to push the buttons all the time.
Thou don't love. Does thou not love school? Does thou not love to be a learned person? My loins did not love to be learned like a beast upon the streets. But a beast upon the streets became a beast within the sheets.
Nice work, Mike.
Thank you.
Yes, that's a good. There's a metaphor for that. So
It really is.
So Mike, I don't know if you remember that one. That was from Guerrilla Theater, but
Yes.
he was your director for that scene. So he was kind of giving you coaching, and he decided one thing is that you're going to be Mr. Shakespeare the whole way through. Nobody else will be, just you. And then he's giving you that direction on the fly, and you took it.
I did.
Nice yes anding for all of that. So well done on that.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. So, Mike, we're going to get you back again in a little bit as well with everybody else. But I want to bring one more person to the fold here. And this is our newest and hottest young artistic director. And this is actually a first and a once in a lifetime. And I know everybody on the outside is going, yeah, it's about time. This is our first and foremost female artistic director. She's been artistic director for just about a year. So everybody else before Emily is going to be talking about what they did, but Emily's going to charm us with what she's doing and what we have to look forward to in the future. So go ahead, bring Emily up onto the screen there. Hello, Emily Fontano.
I have female organs.
Are you trying to be like Mike?
Does Mike have female organs too? I knew it.
He was just making those kinds of references. So thank you for having female organs. There's no metaphor for that. You don't have to make metaphors for your female organs. Now, Emily, you're so busy, the hardest working woman in live streaming, because people who were on, and probably most of the people were on, you were doing this at 7 o'clock in your live check-in.
Dave, I'm quarantined and I'm thriving. I'll tell you what.
Yes, indeed. You are thriving.
I have to thank you for doing these SAK Bak Traks, because they've been wonderful. And because people like you had an idea and you knew what you wanted to do, it makes my life easier with all live streaming, because it means that you'll do something and I don't do anything.
Oh, that is so not true. Now, Emily, we're going to be extolling your virtues as we come up, because one thing we're going to be talking about with everybody are their challenges. And I would have to say, being the most recent one in, and I'd say you got the biggest challenge of all to go on. Like, the theater's closed. What are you going to do? Everybody's going online. What are you going to do? So we'll talk about that a little more. But let me see. I think I've got some fun stuff for you here too. So let me see if I can find that. So if I can find this here. So this is a nice little pic of you and your friend Chelsea. Look at that.
I look enormous. That top is doing me zero favors, but you know what? I'm with Chelsea Highland, and that means I'm thrilled.
Yes, and it looks like you're about, as always, it looks like you're about to go into song, and I'm sure you probably are. It's a 90% chance that whatever time you look at Emily on the stage, she's about to go into song. And I just wanted to bring up, because, at our 25th anniversary show that we had, we did get a wonderful visit from Mr. Wayne Brady, who came and joined us for that. And you had the wonderful opportunity to be in you'll see it when it comes up, but was this a slice of life that you were in?
Dream come true. Wayne Brady went to Dr. Phillips High School. He had Karen Rogerio as his teacher. I also went to Dr. Phillips High School, had Karen Rogerio. Now I'm on the SAK stage. I've been going to SAK when I was a kid in high school. Now I'm on the SAK stage, and Wayne Brady is going to sing a song with me. We do a duet. I nearly died.
Yes. Now, in the interest of time, I edit out a lot of Wayne stuff so we can highlight.
Good. Perfect.
See, and it ends with a wonderful, this is completely improvised, but the way you two match each other at the end. So we'll have.
We should be together probably in life.
I never thought a girl like me live a life of fantasy. Then came you, and all my dreams came true. Well, Jared, what more can I do? I'll be your star. If my dad lets me.
Nice.
I
Awesome.
really extended that note there at the end so I could stay on the stage with the WB in it a little bit longer.
Yep, that's right. Well, he was giving you a run. He was doing a little bit of a run, so it's like you got to do your run too.
I see you, Wayne. I see you, and
I raised your run, but that's what made it so beautiful is that you guys were, and you kept like matching and pushing yourself. It was like raising on the stakes in the poker chips. He does a little more, you do a little more, and it was so beautiful how you guys ended that. So wonderful, and congrats on that.
in my life.
All right, so we're going to get to, we've got a lot of great stuff. I'm going to have John, go ahead and take Emily off for just a second. I'm going to just do one thing and then we'll bring them all up in a second. But I think I have to get to some of this. We got to get a, what do we call the hacky sacky contest going. And I'm having a real hard time keeping up with these comments. So I'm going to hope for my friends, if you know what the answer to this is, somebody tell me if people are guessing here. So let me get this up here if I can. John, can you bring the share screen up again there if you don't mind? Yeah, and I'm going to take this here and see where this. All right, so this first one, the other ones I've been doing are really, I feel like they're really easy. So John Hunter says, at least Dave didn't make you rap head to head with Wayne. Did I do that too, John? I'm so sorry, John. All right, I got to go back here and so I'm going to bring this one up here. Bring this one. Will that come up there? Here's the clue for this. It's a hacky sacky, which means it's 2 syllables, 2 rhyming syllables right next to each other. Russians cookies is the clue. Russians cookies is the clue. I will offer, if we need to, some hints as we go on, but that's the clue there. All right, John, go ahead and we'll go ahead and bring everybody up here and see if we can get everybody in on here. Let me switch that here. So there's Will back there again. Hello, Will. Way, we got them all, ladies and gentlemen. How about a nice hand for all the SAK Comedy Lab artistic directors over the years? Yes, and we are not in a sequential order, so that is great. Emily, when we, in 1990, when we were at the Carrie Hayden Funeral Home, you were like 5, right?
Yeah, but 91. No, I was not 5. I'm old. I'm older, guys. Come on.
You are not old.
I am wicked. And listen, I used to go when you were on Church Street. So that's when I started to go to SAK.
Okay, and that's in 91 to 95?
Yeah, and I was old enough to go to the comedy club. So I'm not some kid.
All right, so we'll kind of get you into the mix here. So we're talking about these early years at the SAK Comedy Lab when we're in that building. Talk about the transition there, and I know we touched on some of this stuff last week, so maybe we can skip around and find some other fun things to tell. But let's start talking about how we're getting going and how many of the specialty shows we were doing, as well as the theater sports format. So can you talk a little bit about that, Will?
Sure. Gosh, again, the whole background, the short little background was that, we're doing industrial theater in Orlando with, the theme parks and stuff and doing festivals and all that. And everybody was sort of tired of it. And Lyle had also mentioned Expo. We had gone up to Expo 86 and seen theater sports there and, had a chance to really, see some fun stuff. So that kind of lit a little bit more of a fire under us to just stop doing, churning those street shows out at Epcot.
Yeah.
And so we started early on sort of developing some new shows and the idea of doing some, sort of cutting edge stuff and really raising the level of comedy. And then Disney decided to steal our stuff and fire us. So it became the main, source of our work. And then that's just like one of those things, that kind of happens in all business and in all art is we just sort of exploded. So we opened with theater sports, or, we called it theater sports. I guess it was theater sports.
I think we were doing theater sports at that time, and it eventually morphed into something a little bit different. But so, yeah.
Then we did Las Vegas Hospital, and then we followed really quickly with Fun with Science. We did Orlando World. We did Boho Night. We did a Christmas show. I don't remember the name of it. We did another Christmas show.
Yeah. So Will, talk about tell them what boho night is.
Oh, boho night. That was just an open mic with a sort of hipster sort of guy with a beret or girl with a beret and smoking clove cigarettes. That was
Will. I remember, didn't you and Claire originally host that as characters?
We did. And like everything, I did it like 2 nights and then never did it again because it was work.
It was. I hosted for a while myself. I was Greg.
Yeah. It was fun. It was fun. Very odd stuff. Very odd stuff. But I think it's kind of like the Pepe thing, right? Isn't that an open mic or no?
Not really. The Pepe show. No,
this is open mic, and then the host would kind of sit in the corner and just make comments over a microphone before and after. Yeah. It was really kind of tough. I mean, we were hard on the people.
Yeah, but it was a fun way to do the open mic stuff, and I mean, some people deserve to be harder. But we found some wonderful people. Dave the Science Guy. You remember this guy?
No.
Dave the Science Guy, he might have been during Greg's time, but he would come on, and one time he brought on this big iron lung, or not iron lung. What are they?
Wow, that's a nice prop.
Yeah, but a big lung machine that he did some electricity experiment in or something. So it was very wild. I'm going to bring up a picture here. I believe this is like the set. James Newport got me this photo, but this is what it looked like at the SAK Comedy Lab on Church and Court there. One of the original, a very colorful set that we had there. Is that right, Will? Does this ring a bell? Do you remember?
That was after my time.
Does this look like, remember these rafters up there? Is that
yeah, I remember those rafters.
Yeah, those and we used to play a lot of our scenes up in those rafters.
Yeah. That was one of the times where I don't know what it was or what drug I was on at the time, but one night I decided, because there was a ceiling up there, the asbestos tile ceiling. Yeah. And one night after a show, everybody gone home, and I said, God, I hate that ceiling. We got no place to hang lights from, and it looks stupid. So that night I tore down the ceiling.
Right, I do remember that. Yeah,
it was just everywhere, and then I just remember again Terry Olson coming in the morning, and there was this haze of asbestos in the air, and the dust.
Oh, really? Yeah, you might want to get that checked out.
Yeah, it's fine. The blood tastes good.
Yeah, and the weather out there is really good for that, I'm sure. So I'm sure that's helping.
Fantastic, yeah.
Very good. Let's bring Lyle and James in as well, if you can, because so this is the transition time now. James, we had talked about, we got you, we stole you from Comedy Sports. We also got Jonathan Mangum from there, Clark Canine. Was there anybody else who played with
Megan
us?
White?
Megan was with you guys, so that's where we got Megan as well. Wonderful. And we didn't.
And it seems like there's more, but Jay
Hopkins.
No, not Hopkins. Jay
from that one.
The other Jay. What's the other Jay's name? You know, Jay.
All I can think of is no, but that's Vancouver Theatre Sports again. So
no.
It'll come to us, and no worries. So a lot of people migrated over, and that was great. So let's talk about this time when there was that huge migration. How was that for you, Lyle and James? What did you guys feel? Did you know? What did you think was going to go on?
Well, I thought you hated me.
You thought it was personal against you?
I showed up and you're like,
I could just take one little break. Erica Kurtz wins. It's Putin's Newtons, Russians cookies. They're the fig Newtons.
I thought it was Gregorio's Oreos.
Oh, that would have been that's just one little extra syllable.
Jay Becker.
The
Jay Becker. Didn't he come to SAK for a while? Jay Becker.
Jay Becker. That's it. So I had forgotten. But
and Bill Larkin. And Bill Larkin. Of course, Bill Larkin.
He was a Comedy Sports guy as well. That we stole. Oh my gosh, we stole so many. So I'm so sorry.
There was nobody left. I had to join SAK.
Very good. And Jay, we'll talk about Jay later because he's one of those. He went on to Disney, and so he works a lot at Disney. There's a lot of great crossover Disney folks and SAK folk, and that'll be a later episode. So Lyle, how about you? What was it like for you?
Well, I was looking forward to working with everybody. And then the migration happened, but I was teaching lab rats at the time too. And of course, when people move on, there's opportunity. And Will said, why don't you guys do Suspect, the show that we had done in Vancouver? So we did that. And that was very successful, Fringe run and then a main stage run as well. And it had James as the detective, and it had Lauren Pritchard and Stuart Maxwell.
Yeah.
And Lisa Frederickson, who we brought in as guest artist. There was a guest artist program that we started to bring experienced improvisers to SAK to bolster up the talent. And it was a great show. We had Jay Hawkins as the butler, Francie was the maid. It hit. It was a big hit. And there was a nice transition.
Was this Church and Court, or was this now Amelia?
No, that was still at
Court Street. Yeah. Church, yeah.
Very good. And so Nearsighted Justice was one. There were several other shows you mentioned it. James, any other come to mind for you in that time? Because you guys did a great job of just doing a lot of different kind of things.
Back at Church Street, I think, Will, the Christmas special was a very special SAK family Christmas special.
I think that was one. That was the second one. That was Miracle. You were in that, right?
Miracle on Church Street.
Miracle on Church Street.
Right,
That's
Miracle on Church Street.
That's right. Yeah.
What I remember about that show is Michael Plain built this huge couch, and then we did some like mad movie type things to Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, which was fun.
Right.
That was the second Christmas show. Yeah.
And then James,
when was Trapped on Christmas Mountain? When was that one?
That was after we left. You guys did that. Jay, I remember Jason, Megan, and you can rattle off all the names in there, but all you guys. So that was after we had gone already, and that was going on. So let's move forward now. We're going to get to 1998, apparently, John Hunter tells me. I was thinking it was 96, but it's 1998. So we left in about 95, 96, and there were still a couple of years. That's when all this stuff happened at Church and Court. And then that building was supposedly going to be torn down. Will, you remember this building was going to be torn down almost every year we were there.
Yeah.
So finally they said, you guys have to leave.
It was a dread
The crane showed up.
Thing.
The crane showed up. And this
was like every year it was going to be torn down, and it never did. And we started out paying like $1 a month, like a $1 a square foot, or something like 50 cents a square foot.
Right.
And then as we got more successful, the robber barons were stealing more money from us, and then they finally did tear it down.
And so this was kind of like this is like Princess Bride and Wesley in the Dread Pirate Roberts. It's like
right.
I'll most likely kick you out tomorrow.
Also, Wayne Brady and Jonathan Mangum.
Yes. And so what happened was so we had to leave. And this is where the magic of Terry Olson comes into play again, the managing director of SAK at that time, because he had found us this location, this Church and Court. It was being unused. And he said, hey, you should get some theater groups in there to do some stuff. I don't know which one of us that is. Could be any of us. And so a new home had to be found. And so this used to be Pinky Lee's. It was a restaurant and a gospel brunch. There was a kinder care in this location as well. This was in the Centroplex 2 parking garage. Oh, it's James's cat making all that noise. Wow, that's very impressive, James. Very good. So now we're moving over. This is down by the Amway Center. It's the Centroplex 2 parking garage, and we're building a theater in there. Talk about that transition. You three guys were there. I wasn't there, so I'm going to pull up some pictures while you guys are talking about that.
Yeah.
Come here.
There was lots of demolition to be done. I remember that. It was. I think we did more demolishing than building, really.
I think I actually have a picture of like what it used the before and after. So let me see if I can get this up here. So
it was a weird room. It's like a tunnel. It was a big long. God, yeah.
Very long. So this is actually they had their stage on the right, but that's actually where you guys put the audience because it was raked a little bit. So you guys had to tear down their stage. And then over on the left side is where the audience was. So let me see if I got another picture here. I can go to this next one here. And so this is now we're looking more at the right and see that all that open area. There's some big glass windows there. You guys blacked out the windows because that's where the stage was, right? Where those two, I don't know what those two clowns are doing there, but that's Lisa Frederickson and who else? Stewart? Is that Stewart?
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, I think it is.
So, and then the stage was in that area. This is Will directing the build out. So Will, you were actually in there directing that build out there. And so eventually it was it was just like a big, you see the windows in the back are blacked out. And it was kind of just a black stage. And there wasn't, did you guys have a rise there or was it on the floor, James?
Oh, there was a little bit of a rise.
Yeah.
Lyle, that's you in that picture. You see yourself?
Yeah.
You and Lisa Frederickson, and it looks like Lauren Pritchard. Is that correct?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I think
I
that's
think so. Mm-hmm.
Very good. And so that's the way that the stage was from 1998 up until 2003. So many years and many good shows in there. What were the shows that you remember from that Emilia time? Anything different than what you've already described?
I was thinking of the other day that we did a fringe show that was Cinderella, and we did 7 different shows. Each show was a different genre. So we did, I think, a gangster one, a Western one, and 5 others. And they each were represented by a shoe, I think, on the poster.
Gotcha.
Cinderella shoe. Cinderella, that's one with the shoe, right? Yeah.
That's the one with the shoe. That's right. Now, there were also, during that time, there were a lot of fringe shows still happening. SAK is doing fringe every year. Kind of when I came back, we really slowed down on that as fringe was morphing and changing and moving away and going to other places. Yeah. But you guys did a lot of fringe shows. All right. We are going to move fast forward.
Oz.
The Big Oz. That was a fringe show as well. We're going to move fast forward. My time came in about 2003 to 2010. We were at the... I believe at that time we were still at the Emilia place. I'm going to pull up one picture of what the stage looked like. So this is what it looked like. We built a little stage there and it had a little set built there. But we're going to move quickly through that because we're going to go to the time where we got to the City Arts Building. So there's a big story about how we got to the City Arts Building, but I'm going to actually kind of skip over that so we can get these other artistic directors in and talk about that. So John, go ahead and bring everybody in. Let's take a look and see if we can get go ahead and bring. So we're jumping ahead now to the time. This is Mike Carr. You kind of came into SAK and started working with SAK during my time as artistic director. I actually hired you through Disney out of Chicago to come and do Monsters Laugh Floor. That's when I first saw you. And it's one of those things where I'm there working for Disney, but I go, we got to get him to SAK. We got to get him to SAK. So you got going with Monsters Laugh Floor, and then the invitation came. It's like, hey, could you? I can't remember who actually connected with you to invite you to come down to SAK.
It was Craig Slazak, actually. It was at one of our Monsters rehearsals early on, and Craig Slazak said, "You've done improv. You should come check out SAK. Dave's the director there." And I was like, "Oh, okay, great." So he invited me to a Next Gen show or a Gen S show, and we went to it and had so much fun. And that's where I met Chase Padgett that night. He and I did a show together, and we would do tons of shows together for years. And and I just fell in love with it pretty much that night. It was really great.
Yes, and so you continued. You were in that era with Chris, Benji, a lot of people. We were getting a lot of migration over from Comedy Warehouse and Ad Club, so a lot of Disney people were making that crossover. And then after the transition came for you and Chris to kind of take the helm there, that's when you came in. So I wasn't even really a part of your Emily time. So talk about Mike and Emily, how Emily got into the mix there with you all.
I'll start. I remember I saw you, Emily. I saw your level 1 grad show. I remember I was sitting in the back of the theater with Jose, and it was a full house. And you weren't singing, you were talking, but still, you have a voice that can fill a room. And you just had a presence about you. And I remember Jose and I were like, "She's good." Like immediately, we were both like, "She's really good." And I think that night I even walked by you and I was like, "Hey, great show tonight." And I was just like. I remember seeing you and being like, "She's really strong," and then watching you grow through the years was really fun. And then when the time came for me to move on, and you put your name in the hat for AD, it was like that's awesome that we can see someone actually go from all the classes through every level of cast. You were a lab rat, you were Next Gen, then your ensemble, Guerrilla Theater. We've worked together on several shows outside of SAK and at SAK, so. It was really fun to watch your growth in that world.
And that's Chris Dinger's story as well. So, Emily, talk about your entree in and how that was all for you.
That was it.
But from the Emily, he stole your story there.
Michael explained it all. But listen, though, I had been going to SAK when I was in high school, like I mentioned. I remember you guys were doing a marathon. You were doing like one of those 24-hour marathons at Church Street. And in the middle of the night, we were there at 2 a.m, me and my friends. And you guys said, wow. I don't remember who was in the show, but they were like, "We want to call somebody." And I said, "Call my dad." And you called, whoever the actors were, called my father and had the phone like up to a mic, or it was somehow amplifying the phone. And they called my father in the middle of the night. that moment. I loved SAK. So I finally got off my keister and took classes. I'd lived in Boston for a while, and I took classes at Improv Asylum in Boston. Which you know, because you're in Boston now.
Yeah, but I don't know Improv Asylum. I don't know that theater. Improv Boston is a theater that I really like. Cheap plug for my current job.
The best thing that I ever did in my entire life, probably, was take classes at SAK. So, and then it led me to where I am. So, and you heard that story from Michael. Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome, man.
She has a check-in at 7, Mike. She gets plenty of airtime.
I know.
Yeah.
John's putting up a comment about a show that we did. I directed Emily and Amanda in a show called Besties, and John and I did a show. John Valinas left the booth and came on stage for this one. And we literally every night, every Friday, we would go to the Harp and Celt, have a beer, and we would take a table from the Harp and Celt to SAK and put it on stage. So they were cool with it. They were like, yeah, you guys can borrow our table. So we would be walking down Orange Ave carrying a table from a bar to the theater to do a show. And then we just return it after the show. So it was
wow.
When you have a good relationship with the bar, they let you do it.
That's an amazing story. All right. So very good. I'm going to throw out one more little game here. One more hacky sacky that we can. This one is actually a triple. It's a hacky sacky packy. And so let me see if I can bring up the clue for this one here. That's right. And all three rhyme with each other. So let me see. So I got this one here. All right. Yes. Okay. You can let's bring that up. So the clue for this one is Brady's undie soreness. Brady's undie soreness is the clue for that one. So as they're chopping away at that, let's see if we can. So why don't you guys talk about what were? I'd like for you guys to talk about the highlights of your time and like what you would call the biggest challenge. And Emily, I think we all know what yours is, so we want to hear about it. We can imagine that current events.
Is my biggest challenge my vagina?
No, I told you don't do that.
I'll tell you what, it's not.
Enough of the female organ work.
The biggest challenge right now is pretty obvious, I think, for me. It's how we do what we do online. And I think that SAK is even more specific, doing the exact type of like Duel of Fools and King of the Hill shows that we do, the short form shows we do, because golly, they do need that audience energy. It's just, I don't know how to capture it on these screens. And I am so psyched to see all these theaters trying everything. And I'm watching and trying to figure it out. The nightly check-ins is the only thing that I've kind of let people show their own personal side and have individual shows is the only thing I've kind of honed in on at the time.
Right.
Highlight of my time at SAK has been everything.
Mike could have said that.
I could have.
All right, let's go over to Will. Will, how about you?
Okay, I'll go backwards.
I can't tell if I thought I was. Who would be next for you, Will? I can't tell. Is it Mike? I guess it's you. John has picked.
Great. So am I talking highlights and challenges? Is that what I'm doing?
Yeah. Or whatever you want. I mean, that's just a prompter.
A highlight for me, I got to be a part of watching a lot of growth for the theater in terms of I was paying attention. Shut up, John. I got to see a lot of growth and was very happy to be a part of that growth, and a lot of performers, and also seeing new people coming into the theater. Like I was thrilled when Robbie Pygott wanted to be a part of SAK, and he had been a performer at Disney and Comedy Warehouse, and we got him to come play at SAK. And
Robbie Pygott, if I can just break in here for a second, he's actually answering our hacky sacky packy, and you're close, Robbie Pygott, but you just got to fix that just a little bit. I'm sorry to say, Robbie, you're almost there. Because Robbie, yours has something to do with like Welch's grape juice, and I just don't know that's his right. So John Valinas, you can decide if he pretty much had the feel of it, or we'll give it to Steve Merritt, who actually does have it, although he put an extra vowel in the underwear as well. But it's Wayne's Haynes Pains. That's the answer to that hacky sacky packy. That's right. Brady's undie soreness is Wayne's Haynes Pains. So I'll let John Valinas work it out. All right, Mike, continue your story.
Sure. I really enjoyed watching the growth. There was a lot of great performers coming up and getting an opportunity to work with them. Also getting the chance to bring some new styles to SAK. Like we got to bring in Invasion Christmas Carol from Dad's Garage, and we did that show at our theater and put our own spin on it. We had guests from Vancouver and we had guests from other theaters that were bringing some different kind of energy and different styles, which was a lot of fun. And that also is the flip side of the challenge too, because we had a great deal of talent, and finding a way to showcase as much of it as we could was challenging. But the rewards far outweighed the challenges in being the AD of SAK. It was a wonderful time.
Very good. All right. And I'll just, again, quickly for me, the highlight of my time was the move into the City Arts Factory. That really was, it seemed like that was kind of a turning point that really helped SAK grow. And the guys who worked it and really took a hold of that really have made it an excellent place for SAK. It's a great home for SAK. And I think for me, the biggest challenge was there was always money struggles. Again, this was before I knew we knew, and I knew how to ace the social media stuff and getting followers and the like. So it just seemed like there was always something going on. We had the hurricanes, we had the 2008 the financial terrible trouble. So a lot of those things, that was the biggest challenge for me, is working through all that stuff, because I'm an actor and an improviser. I'm not a money person. So just trying to have to work through all that. Let's move backwards now to James. Hello, James. You're up.
What's the question?
We are talking about your prompt is highlights.
I'm sorry, this
challenges. Highlights.
The sound for me is really dropping out. I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Let me try again, and otherwise we'll go to he's paying attention. What are some of your favorite things during your time? Highlights.
Type it in for me, John, what he's asking me, and I'll tell you. But the sound, it sounds like this when everybody talks.
That is the kind of the way I talk. Let's bring up Lyle. We'll go ahead and bring up Lyle, and then we'll come back and we'll type in your. So look at
highlights and challenges.
Yeah. All right, you go now. You got
money and money. Were mostly challenges.
Yes.
There was a lot of bills and debts to pay, and then we had to move from Church Street to Amelia. That cost money.
Yes.
But everybody pitched in really so much that it was amazing. The highlights were just shows and the people, really. The space, I love the Amelia Street space because it was so long that you had a good a minute from running to the back green room to the stage. It took you about a minute to get there. And you could do a lot of comedy in just that full minute, running from the green room to the stage. You'd start about halfway through the host's opening monologue, and by the time they finished, you were usually there at the stage, is the way it worked out.
Right. Yes, indeed. Very good. All right, let's move over to Lyle. I believe you're next in line.
Highlights, when I first came to SAK, on all the tournaments that happened, there's nothing like playing with people you've never played with before. It's the true spontaneity and improvisation that you can really get. Other highlights, because I'm directing Next Gen right now, is seeing them develop and ready to move on and become professional improvisers and professional comedians within the Central Florida community. That is thrilling. And the challenges were, work-life balance is always a challenge. Yeah.
Very good. All right. And you talked about, we're going to move to Emily next and find out about you, but you talked about Next Gen. And I love it that both Emily and Chris really came up through the ranks, coming, seeing shows and taking classes. So both our current artistic and managing directors have come up and really risen to the top and doing some great things. So Emily, we already talked to you, so I'm skipping you now. I just want to give another little shout out.
Don't scratch. You haven't talked to Will.
Thank you, Emily.
Talk to Will. And Will, it's over to you.
It's kind of beautiful that Emily and Chris have been they're full indoctrination, right? It's like they're fully indoctrinated, and then that they will pass it on to the next indoctrination. And I think, and I'm joking about indoctrination, but I think that really, along with all the other sort of, the fondest memories
How
of,
you doing, buddy?
of that, where of building this thing, from scratch.
Yeah.
Just seeing what it would turn into, and what it has turned into is really still has the personality of what we created at the beginning, and that really feels good because there's a sort of a life love at SAK's Comedy Warehouse that is just it doesn't exist in a lot of places, and the audience is that was another one of my high points. Is once we got it rolling and the crowds were coming, I'd sit. There was at the Church Street location. There was a place where I could sit, sort of backstage, and watch the crowd. And that was one of my favorite things to do, was just to watch the crowds during the shows. And then one other final thing is, I think Dad's Garage was mentioned, and that was when they did Home of Science.
Right, that's right.
That really felt good.
Yeah, and so just I can't remember. I may have not been paying attention, but so people know, Matt Young and Matt Stanton, especially two of the guys who kind of helped them get that going. Chris Blair. Anybody else remember any of the other names of those folks? They kind of got their start at SAK in Gainesville Improv or Florida State, something like that. FSU.
I don't know.
A musician named Dave. Isn't there a musician named
Dave Keaton?
Yes.
Yeah, Dave
Right?
Keaton for them. I think that's right. But anyway, they moved up to Atlanta. They started Dad's Garage Theater, which is going gangbusters now. They're over like 20 years old now as well.
They're writing a book about their history.
They're writing a book about it. Well, we got it. Oh, it's time for SAK to write. We have more history. We're gonna have a bigger book.
How dare they?
Always getting the jump.
Well, we got a special every Monday at 8.
They don't have that. They don't have you guys coming. All right. Well, we have. We're quickly running out of time. We're going to go just a little bit over because I want to get everybody their final thoughts and words. So I feel like we just touched the surface. So we might have to have you guys back again for another one, or in different combinations. Except for we'll let you go to it. But what I want to do is I want to ask everybody kind of what you've been doing since your SAK time. And so, Mike, this will give you a chance to plug that place where you're at as well. There's lots of festivals, lots of improv being done. And then, Emily, we'd love to leave it with you. We'll take you last to say, what do you envision for the future of SAK, and how can we help you? And how can everybody who's watching and listening, how can they help as well? So let's start over there with, we're going to do this kind of out of order. So Lyle, why don't you go ahead?
Well, I'm a show director at Universal Orlando, where we're going to open back up hopefully really soon.
Good. All right.
So that's where I'm going. I just want to say that SAK is such a magical place. Really, I mean, people meet their soulmates there. My wife, your wife. I mean, it's more than just a theater. It really is. Right.
And you and I have that. It's a family affair now. We've got our kids coming up and taking classes and getting on stage. It's just crazy and amazing. All right, James Newport, you got a festival that you do as well in Gatlinburg. Tell us about all the stuff you got going on. Oh, we'll come back to you. We're gonna.
Hey, John, what Dave just say?
John will bring you up one. Let's go to Mike Carr and we'll bring up a prompter for James. Sorry, James. So Mike Carr, you talk and then we'll put up a prompter for James.
I came up to Boston, which is where I'm originally from, to run the training center for Improv Boston. I am now the artistic director of Improv Boston.
Yay!
So I'm still doing this job. We are doing as much as we can, much like Emily said earlier, trying to figure out how to translate what we do on stage to the online medium has been a challenge.
Yeah.
But the good thing is our casts are just like, yeah, let's try it. We'll try something. And we just run with it. And we're doing the same thing. We're trying to get donations for our theater and keep our doors open. That's our goal. So that's where I am. And also, too much like Lyle and Dave, I also met my wife through a SAK show when John Valinas brought back Better Days. My wife Julie and I were love interests in the show, and then now we're married.
Oh,
so that is so great.
Yeah.
Very good.
SAK makes families.
Congratulations on that as well. I want to thank John Valinas for prompting James. John Valinas sent James a text message to say, "What are you doing now?" And then he put something on the screen to say, "Look at your text messages." You could have just asked him what he's doing now on the screen. So, so John is officially.
Is it my turn yet?
There's a lot of people claim responsibility, but John Valinas kind of wins it.
Yes, indeed. All right, James, you are up. Go.
Yeah, I saw my text. I run an improv fest in Gatlinburg. We just finished our 9th year at a great little theater, the Sweet Fanny Adams Theater, and they have been threatening to close, much like SAK did for many years. And so hopefully we'll have the 10th yearly annual Gatlinburg Improv Fest next year. It's in March, usually first week in March.
Wow.
And the theater seats about 160 or so. It's very small, very intimate. But it's very much like an old, my cat's attacking me. Sorry, British music hall, vaudevillian kind of style theater. And they do amazing shows there and are kind enough to let us have a weekend when they're not doing shows in the first week of March before they open for their season. And it's great. We've had some people from Orlando. We've had groups from lots of groups here in Tennessee and Chicago and other places I can't think of right now. But GatlinburgImprovFest.net, and there we also have a Facebook page, Gatlinburg Improv Fest, and check that out. It's been a lot of fun. I missed improv so much that I felt I had to do something here. And there's not much. There's one improv group in Knoxville, Einstein Simplified, and they've been with us every year, Gatlinburg Improv Fest, and my cat's like in my light, and that's really all I do, just that one thing. But it's enough. It's enough. It makes me very happy for the rest of the year.
Yes, well, great. All right. So, Will, it's your turn, and you have the most space to fill. What you been doing since your SAK time?
What do you mean? Like since SAK?
If you'd like, yeah. What you got going on? What you doing?
I started working for a company called BRC Imagination Arts as a freelancer, and started building theme parks and shows for NASA and stuff like that, and did some corporate identity centers. I did a big thing in Dresden, Germany for Volkswagen. Did that for a while. Then I got really sick and almost died. And then, nobody wants a creative director that hasn't done anything. It's what you've done lately. I kind of did a bunch of other little things here and there, but I'm mostly running the empire, the Sera Empire.
Yes, indeed.
Quite a bit because my wife makes bank, and my goal right now. I've gotten into really seriously back into mountain biking again.
Yeah.
And there's the new technology, which is the power assist electric bikes, and I ride up in the mountains all the time. I want to be the senior level world champion of electric mountain bike racing. Right. And I'm also writing I've been writing for the past 6 years a space opera that will certainly never be done.
Well, great. I did have the opportunity to go mountain biking with you one time. You're a great mountain biker. I broke my hand, and you had to somehow get me and my
bike. Your wrist, right? You broke your wrist.
I broke my wrist. That was a steep hill we were on.
I should have never taken you on that hill.
All right. Well, thanks very, very much, Will. And now we're going to move on to Miss Emily. We're going to kind of use you as the swan song. Because since you are keeping the fires going here, we're going to say that you, by default, already have won the cage match. So tell us what's looking good in the future for SAK.
Listen, we're going to be doing shows every night for the rest of May. Everything's scheduled and booked, and we'll be posting regularly about everything that there is. I mean, we've got free daps, freestyle rap. We've got designated debaters. It's a superhero drinking game show. We have Robin's 50th, Robin Kelly. She's going to be shaving her head, maybe. I don't know. But there's things every night in May. I'd like to take this time, since we're not doing shows as much, I can focus on making an annual calendar for SAK, broken up by seasons like theaters generally do. We've got a great partnership with Dr. Phillips Performing Arts Center for teaching for youth. I would love to get a festival off the ground, but that's going to be money, and we need to get through this nonsense. Yeah. We hope that we can go back to Vancouver next year. We've been the champions of a Vancouver Throwdown Festival for the past 4 years now. It's incredible. So hopefully in 2021, we'll be able to get back there. I have a Fringe show planned for Fringe 2021. Just keep it all going, because I love SAK more than anything. I love SAK more than anything. I said it. My boyfriend to hell with it. Family, I don't care. SAK for life.
All right. Well, very good. Well, we are with you, full support. Once again, you know, we love everybody loves SAK. Let's get everybody back on there. John Bellina says Emily is the best. So
She is.
yes, she is indeed. So thank you so much, all of you, for
I agree with that too.
again. I'm definitely going to have to get some of you back because John Hunter keeps saying, make Will talk about Fortune Feast. And that's a whole nother episode in and of itself, Will. So I know we just touched the surface. There's so many stories and also so many wonderful people to thank and talk about. And not talk about them, but talk with and talk about the wonderful contributions they have made to SAK as well. I see Emily's going to. Oh, look, she's
Lucy.
I thought I saw something come in your room.
Lucy.
Roxy, Lucy, like the leaky face.
Yeah,
All right. All right, so everybody, on the count of three, we're all going to say bye-bye, and then I'll close us off here. So thank you guys so much for coming. 1, 2, 3.
Bye.
You're kitty kitties.